Hello, and thank you for your interest in the Excel bolt-on data collector from Sulzer Consulting of the Vetti Group. This video will show how to install the data collector and configure it to collect data from Vorn Excel devices. The demonstration will take place on a Windows 7 system, but data collector can be installed on any current Windows desktop or server operating system. The demonstration system also has Microsoft SQL Express 2014 running on it, but data collector can connect to a local or remote instance of Microsoft SQL Database 2012 or later. While this demonstration will show a simple installation procedure, the data collector's user manual covers the complete installation and configuration procedure in much greater detail. First, let's install the software on our system. Once the software is downloaded onto the system, extract all the files from the zip file. Double-click on the file install xbdc.exe. Agree to the licensing terms and select Install. Select Yes to the user account control prompt if it appears. Select the Close when the installation finishes. Now that the software is installed, let's move on to the configuration. Configuration is done using the Data Collector Configurator program, so let's start that. First, we will need to configure how the data collector will connect to the database. Here's how that is done. Select Options, Storage Locations. Select New Database Location. Enter an alias for the database storage. Then select Create Connection String. For this system, where the database is running on the same system, the following selections are specific for this environment. You will need to configure how the data collector will connect to the SQL database in your environment. I'm going to select Microsoft SQL Server and then select Next. I'm going to select Database Authentication and enter the username and password for the account, and then select Next. If you haven't created a SQL identity inside your Microsoft SQL Server, you might want to pause the configuration and do that now. In another video, we will show you how to install Microsoft SQL Express and set up a SQL identity if you aren't familiar with doing those things. For the database server, I'm going to enter local and then select refresh. The database name appears and I select Next. If I don't see any database after collecting refresh, then something is wrong with the connection string, and maybe the SQL username and password is wrong, or maybe the server name is misspelled, or SQL Server instance is missing or misspelled, and will need to be fixed before you continue. Here I can select Test Database Connection and confirm the data collector can communicate with the database. Then I can select Finish, OK, and Close to finish with the database configuration. Next, we need to configure the Vorn Excel devices that the data collector will be communicating with. Here is how that is done. Right-click anywhere in the white area under the menus and select New. Enter a name for the device and enter the IP for the device. To the right of the DB storage field, select the database you're going to use. You can select Test Connection to confirm you've configured the Vorn Excel device correctly. Be sure to select Enabled so that the data collector will actively harvest data from this device. When you're done with configuring the devices, select OK and make sure the configuration is saved by selecting File, Save. Finally, we will need to configure a collection schedule that Data Collector will use when communicating with the Born XL devices. Here is how that is done. Select Options, Collection Schedule. Right-click anywhere in the white area underneath the menus and select New. Give the schedule a name. And enable the schedule by selecting the Enabled box. Enable DB storage by selecting that checkbox. Select when the schedule should execute. For this example, I will select Execute on regular interval and leave the time to every 5 minutes. Select devices that will use this schedule by selecting them in the Devices to Synchronize on the left and moving them to the right-hand side into the selected list. Select the database tables to synchronize on the left and move them to the right into the selected list. Not all of the tables are necessary, but they can all be selected. If you have a large number of Born XL devices, it may be desirable to only harvest data that is needed so you can reduce the load on the application, network, database, and devices. When you are done, select OK and close. And be sure to save your configuration by selecting File Save. At this point, be sure to go to the Tools menu, select XL Bolt-on Data Collector Service, and then click Start. Once the service starts, it may take a few minutes to start seeing data in the database. Now let's confirm everything's working. If we look in Microsoft SQL Management Studio and look at the contents of the production metric table, we can see that data is being populated. We can also see data populated in the VX Shift event view and the VX Processing State event view. That means that the data collector is gathering information from the Born XL device and storing it in the database. At this point, if you want to add another Born XL device, we can use the Data Collector configurator and copy and paste the existing device to easily add another, just by changing the name and IP. Then we can add it to the schedule, save our work, and confirm the restart. Be sure to save the configuration changes by selecting File Save. If the configurator asks if you want to restart the data collection service, select Yes so the new device will start being included. As you can see, the data collector is communicating with 2 Born XL devices, and it only took a few minutes to get up and running. It's just that simple. Call or email Born Industries or Sulzer Consulting today to get started with your free trial of the XL Bolt-on Data Collector. The free trial is fully functional for 35 days and supports up to 3 Born XL devices.